Okay, so this week we made a fair bit of progress. We left it off on the Friday from it being scene 1, halfway through Carl's monologue. And so today, on the Tuesday, we recapped that monologue and how that was going to play out and the sort of transitions into there. Because last Friday was stressful, so we did it in a less stressed environment. And then after we did the photo shoot, we moved on to look at ideas for the second half of the monologue. And so what I did was sent everyone off in a group and said, read it through, come up with some ideas. You have 10 minutes, just think about what the words make you think. And I sat there and made some notes myself. I had the idea of Kyle leading them as an army. And when it says Heart of the Holy Land, I had the idea that people could make a heartbeat sound, or they could create the heart. I don't know. Yeah. So that went really well. Everyone came up with quite good ideas, and we finished off the end of that monologue with a lot of movements, which worked really, really well. And we had some really nice ideas come from people. It was a lot less on the nose than the first half, because the first half was very physical and very much like this word is being created, whereas this was like metaphors and quite, we decided that, well, Bex had a really good idea that we will come back into the position that everyone was in before they went and did all the stuff, as if that was like a flashback or like a thought and everyone was a part of that thought. So they come back and they have all the discussions, and then so we did that. On the 29th we continued looking at that and moved on to the end of the scene, right down to the bottom. I'm just going to grab my script actually, hold on. Okay, cool. I got it. So, yeah, we worked through the end of that monologue. And then we had, it says that, like, it's really funny what he says. Everyone starts laughing at Kyle, and it gets funnier and funnier and funnier and funnier until it's, like, really serious, basically. I just lost a page. Anyway, so we had a fair few good ideas with that and we worked through it, but then Ollie and Lydia came in and they were like, no, that's not big enough, and so we made it bigger and we had it sort of build up more. So we started quite small and then we got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then Alfie had a really good idea that his character, because he's a bit dumb, continues the laughter after everyone stops, which worked really well. And then he has a moment where he comes through and like has a moment with Kyle, which is really good. And then we got past all of that, and we've got Mira's little like rant thing happening, and so so we've got Mira's, sorry, I was reading my notes. We've got Mira's little rant, and then I had the idea of having Kyle and Eli's moment, there's later on in the script, having that upstage right, because I think that would look pretty good. But I think that got moved around a little bit in the end, but that was what I envisioned it as. I thought that because we have a cluster that's upstage left. Yeah, we have a cluster that's upstage left, and so I thought, what if the cluster would move? Or am I thinking? I'm thinking of a different place. We have a cluster somewhere. Or they're spread. Oh, you know what? I'm so tired. I can't even think. Anyway, I wanted Eli and Kyle's little bit to be on stage left in the end, because I thought that we could have a cluster upstage right and then have everyone gathered and sort of gossiping and trying to get involved in this. And then Eli would go over and join them, and that's when Mira and Emma come out and have their bit, and then they argue with Kyle and all of that. So we worked through some of that stuff, and we ended up with a cluster that was upstage left. For the end of that scene. And then we looked through that scene again on the 30th. I forgot to say that my target for the 29th was to give feedback and be a firm but fair director. This is because yesterday I wasn't the fairest. I know we need to be moving on to the next part, the next scene in the script, and so I want to help encourage good and creative ideas from all of the actors. In order to get a distinction in my practical skills, I need to be able to show that I am organised and a fair leader. This will help me in the future because it shows that I am able to can't read my own handwriting, to be fair and employable, and that people want to work with me again, basically. So the 30th, we worked on that a little bit more. Yeah, and we were just tweaking little bits throughout the scene, because we didn't have Lydia. Sorry, something just came into my head. We didn't have Lydia for a little bit of that, I think. And so we wanted to tweak little bits so that when she came in, she saw that we were actually working. And there was a fair few little mistakes that needed working through. My target was very similar on the 30th to the 29th. So, yeah. And then... we came up with some ideas for scene 2. We sat down and had a little chat about what ideas would happen, and I posted my notes on the page on my website, but I've got drawings of my idea, which is having bamboo and ribbons, and then this was a person cagey thing, and then on the other side there was this idea, I think from Jack, which was to have people on shoulders, which I thought was a bit dangerous, and I'm not sure how long people could hold that for. But yeah, so we worked on all of that, and then we realised that we wanted a different type of cage, and we wanted it to be more people than anything. But we went back to scene 1 and started working through that again. As I said, all my notes are on the page. And then on Friday, we looked at scene 2 and how we were developing into that. And so we had the idea that people would come out and walk like a square. So all the kids would come out and walk a square, and that would represent the cage, because we have to do what the writer says, but we don't want to do exactly what the writer says, because it stops us from being as creative, I guess. And so we worked through that, and then we looked at body language and stuff, and we were trying to get everyone to have the correct body language in the group, and I was still directing, so I just kind of sat there for a bit because Ollie and Lids took over. Unfortunately, I wasn't feeling great, and so I ended up going home. So I don't really have a target for that day. I kind of sat there for about an hour, and then that was it. But anyway, it was been a productive week. We finished scene 1. I'm quite happy that I shared my ideas and that I encouraged other people's ideas. As I've mentioned throughout this video, there was a few people that had some really good ideas, and I really liked to develop them, and that was really good. I feel like I had completed my targets. I was being a bit crappy on Tuesday, but I think throughout the week I'd gotten better, and that I'd worked hard to make sure that I'm considering everyone and making sure that everyone's comfortable. We worked through, there was one part, I think, where we were working on this tree and how the tree was going to work, and we had, I decided that a pirouette into the tree for the people that were at the bottom would look really good, and I spent some time working with Sian, because she couldn't get the pirouette to stay in a straight line. And so I'm really glad that I was able to take her into consideration and do a one-on-one and sort of help her with getting that in the straight line. And so yeah, that was like a highlight. Cool.